Coming up on Global Business, China's foreign exchange reserve rose by 0.35% on the month at the end of July, marking the second month in a row of increase, and we dig behind the numbers. Rescue and recovery. China's northern and northeast regions brace for more rains. We get the latest on the disaster relief efforts. And the world's top dairy companies are gathered in a conference in China's Inner Mongolia, discussing how to elevate China's dairy product competitiveness in the global market. From CGTN headquarters in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Lily Lu, and we kick off our program with the latest updates on China's economy. According to official data released by the State Administration of Foreign Exchange, China's foreign exchange reserves saw a significant increase of over $11 billion in July to $3.2 trillion, and the growth, which surpassed expectations, was largely aided by the decline of the US dollar against other major currencies. China also reported holding approximately 68.7 million fine troy ounces of gold by the end of July. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange expressed confidence in China's economic resilience and development potential, and they emphasized that the country's long-term positive fundamentals remain unchanged, which bodes well for maintaining the essential stability of foreign exchange reserves. For more insights on China's foreign exchange and gold reserves, we are now joined by Zhou Mi, Senior Research Fellow of the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Mr. Zhou, so by the end of July, we see foreign exchange reserves up by 0.35% from the previous month. So which factors played a significant role in maintaining the stability of that number?
We know that, as you mentioned, that there are uncertain factors like the United States for the Federal Reserve are changing their policies. Well, still we have three factors in my understanding to support the stability of RMB, and I mean the foreign currency or reserve. The first one is the Chinese economy is very resilient. We see that the performance is much better than many of the main economies in the world. And the second is that we know China's foreign reserve is in the number one in the world, which is about more than double of the second, and a combination of the ranked 2 to 5 countries together. So it's quite a possibilities for us to change the possible use of that. And the third one is that we do have many policies to update and trying to optimize the usage of the foreign reserves, trying to improve the value and make it stable.
And also, Mr. Zhou, what do the Forex figures for July indicate regarding China's foreign trade performance and the status of foreign direct investment?
Yeah, we know that the foreign reserve is a combination of the stock and also the flow of the foreign reserves. Actually, for the foreign trade and also for the FDI, there are two of the main factors that will affect the change of the foreign reserve. Well, for the foreign trade, we know that in July, the surplus has increased about more than 90% compared with the year of the same month of last year, while the FDI is still trying to diversify its direction and trying to use the different kind of policies to improve the investment in the service trade and some other areas.
And also, what are the essential points that investors and asset managers should take away from these developments?
Actually, in my understanding, the Chinese government is not put the goal of increasing its reserve as a very important way. Actually, we are trying to stabilize the foreign reserve. But I have to say the Chinese market is such a big market that we are trying to provide different opportunities for the FDIs, which is a kind of very good potentials for the foreign investors who come to here to invest here, and they can get benefit, and they can also give the guarantees by the support of the return if they want to remit some of the profits abroad to other projects in the future.
Great insights. Thank you so much, Mr. Zhou Mi from the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. The Shanghai Stock Exchange and the China Securities Index Company have recently unveiled the SSE Star 100 Index, and this new index is derived from a carefully curated list of 100 securities sourced from the STAR market, emphasizing those with medium market capitalization and robust liquidity. Zhang Shixuan has more.
Different from the STAR 50 index, which reflects the performance of securities with large market capitalizations. The Star 100 index includes more listed firms from a wider variety of industries. The median daily market value of the Star 100 index samples over the past year was 15.3 billion yuan, and 74% of them have a market value of below 20 billion yuan. That's a very big difference from the Star 50 index samples, which had a median market value of 42.4 billion yuan. As of noon today, the Star 100 index has dropped some 1%.
On the valuation basis, the Star 100 indexes, those stocks are more attractive because their current profit revenue is slightly lower compared with the Star 50. But on the potential side, we see that the upside is also pretty visible because on the average basis, their profit margin from those companies are much higher compared to the average company in the Star board.
More than half of the constituents of the Star 100 index are from industries like biomedicine, high-end equipment, and new materials. Both their R&D intensity and revenue growth rate were higher than the Star market's average.
For those investors who are looking maybe, let's say, out of the semiconductor industry, which is heavy weighted in the Star 50, so the Star 100 give much more assets to choose. And on the macro basis, now the officials are trying to provide more funding platform for the private sectors. So this is another areas which the companies from the private sectors and in the tech sectors can raise their funds from.
As of last Friday, there were 550 listed companies on the Star market, with a total market value of almost 6.5 trillion yuan. Experts say that with more tech firms joining the board, the launch of additional indexes is critically important.
In
the global markets, considering something like US tech stocks, the leading stocks that are index constituents have been performing really strongly. Passive investment, especially index investment, has made up the majority of the investments. It's become easy for investors to just buy an index-related product. The launch of products related to indexes such as ETFs is usually large in volume, which winds up raising the liquidity of the entire market.
As of today, more than 10 Star market indices have been released, and products tracking these indices in domestic and overseas markets have reached a value of over 120 billion yuan. The Star 50 index alone has attracted over 76 billion yuan of incremental funds into the Star market since 2022, ranking it first among domestic board-based indices. Zhao Shixuan, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
Still to come on Global Business. Rescue and recovery work continues as China's northern and northeast regions brace for more rain. We get the latest on the disaster relief efforts.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
Several provinces in China have pledged all-out search and rescue efforts as intensified floods pose challenges to multiple regions. 14 people have been killed and 1 remain missing after heavy rains battered the city of Shulan in northeastern China's Jilin province. The city had experienced continuous rains due to the impacts of Typhoon Doksuri. The local government has mobilized rescue efforts to relocate residents, repair roads, and restore power and communication. And also in northeast China, heavy rains have pushed water levels of 12 rivers in Heilongjiang province above the warning level. The local government has allocated batches of disaster relief supplies to flood-hit areas. And in Beijing and Hebei, relief and reconstruction work is underway in flood-affected regions. Power supply have been restored to more than 60% of flood-affected villages in Beijing's Fangshan, Mengtogo, and Changping areas. Rescue teams in Zhouzhou, one of the worst-hit areas in Hebei province, are draining water from low-lying areas. Local residents, volunteers, and rescuers in Zhuozhou are carrying out cleaning up, disinfection, and drainage operations to prevent further damage from the floods. And North China's Tianjin has issued the highest level of alert for possible floods in its Daqinghe River. The river is a major tributary of the Haihe River, which saw its worst flooding in recent days since the 1960s. More than 80,000 people have been relocated. Emergency personnel and disaster relief equipment have been deployed to the river for flood control. And for more about the flood control in Hebei, let's go live to our reporter Zhou Yixing, who is in Zhuozhou, the hardest hit city in the province. Hi there, Yixing. What is the latest on the relief efforts there?
Hello, Lily. I'm in the urban part of Zhuozhou, one of the cities hardest hit by the recent extreme weather and flooding. As floodwaters recede in urban areas, electricity and water supplies are being restored, and the focus has been shifted from rescue to cleaning up and drainage. One of the main tasks now is clearing the flooded areas. After the heavy rainfall, the water depth of a bridge hole has exceeded 2 meters and hindering the passage of emergency vehicles and the relief supply deliveries to the surrounding villages. And the firefighters used large pumping equipment to carry out drainage operations. After working overnight, this section of the road has been reopened to traffic. And another urgent challenge is cleaning up the silt on the road left by the flood water. And because it hinders the passage of pedestrians and vehicles, the Hebei Armed Police Force are working to clear the silt and as well as helping restore the traffic access as soon as possible. Many residential areas and roads are disinfecting the streets, especially where garbage has been spread in the floods. And also, as the cleaning work continues, personnel from the fire departments are supplying drinking water and water for other household uses, as well as other supplies in need by the affected people who stayed in their homes. And also, as for rural areas, many villages in Zhuozhou are severely affected. Today I visited the Xici village, and where many houses were damaged. 20 houses have collapsed, and many of the other houses are not longer fit for living. And the grains that villagers store at warehouses were ruined, and the cornfields are completely inundated. The villagers there suffered a great loss. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much. That's our correspondent Zhou Yixing in Zhuozhou, Hebei province for us. A powerful but slow-moving tropical storm Kanun returned to southwestern Japan on Sunday, just days after the area experienced heavy rains. Our correspondent Chris Gilbert has more on the track of the Kanun across Japan.
Well, officials had warned Okinawans to stay vigilant, and this is absolutely the reason why. Instead of heading northwest towards the east coast of China like forecast expected, the typhoon instead pivoted on the spot, really prolonging the effects for Okinawans, and now is heading directly north over the western island of Kyushu, bringing very heavy rain to the areas that are going to be affected there, such as Nagasaki and Kagoshima. Up to 300 millimeters of rain is expected to fall over 24 hours by Thursday. That's twice as much as what hit Okinawa last week. And this area is already rain affected. There's already heavy flooding. There's already been landslides. So that's just more for Western Japan. After that, the storm is expected to head straight up the Korean Peninsula over South Korea and the DPRK. The Okinawan governor, Denny Tamaki, has said the worst is still not over for his region either. He is warning his residents to brace for strange, dangerous and unusual weather, really trying to drill out complacency from people who may be used to typhoons because the danger certainly has not passed yet. Chris Gilbert for CGTN in Tokyo.
Extreme weather continued to affect large parts of Europe and the US over the weekend. A wildfire in central Portugal has destroyed 7,000 hectares of land and slightly injured 11 people. Temperatures were above 40 degrees Celsius in some regions. Authorities said that wildfire risks could remain very high or at maximum level across the country in the coming days. In neighboring Spain, according to an early assessment by the government, more than 1,000 hectares have been blackened by fires over the past 3 days. And since the beginning of the year, more than 70,000 hectares have burned. Experts blame the climate change for frequent fires. In Italy's Sardinia, 42 wildfires were reported on Sunday. Some 600 residents have been evacuated from cities and towns on the east coast of the island. In the U.S., a heat wave persisted in the country's southern states over the weekend. Temperatures reached almost 38 degrees Celsius in most parts of the region. In the meantime, a tornado, heavy rainfall, and even hail were reported in central and northern states. The world is struggling with extreme weather this year, with flooding, wildfires, heat waves, and global ocean temperatures setting new records. Why is this year so bad compared with previous years? Paul Bledsoe, an adjunct professional lecturer at the American University Center for Environmental Policy and an energy fellow and a strategic advisor at the Progressive Policy Institute, shares with us his insights. Take a listen.
We're nearing tipping points in all sorts of natural systems like our oceans. And if our oceans are continue to be superheated by the emissions of fossil fuels and other greenhouse gas emissions, we are going to see massive hurricanes and typhoons around the world. We're going to see sea level rise that's going to inundate cities. We are much closer to tipping points in natural systems than our leaders are telling us. We're now in a new El Nino pattern, and that tends to warm the northern hemisphere more than the La Nina pattern. We've been emitting massive amounts of greenhouse gas emissions, especially in the last 30 years when we've known that this is a huge problem. We cannot continue business as usual, or we are going to undermine the public safety, national security, agriculture, water supplies, and economic value of nations all around the world. We're all in this together. I believe that climate change is coming into view as a key public safety and national security and economic issue in the United States and in countries around the world. And I think populations are going to demand that our leaders take action.
You're watching Global Business, and still to come here on the program, how to make China's dairy products more competitive in the global market. And this is being discussed at a global conference of the dairy industry in China's Inner Mongolia, where the world's top dairy companies are gathered.
We are all connected. Across borders, across continents, connected by ideas, a shared humanity. Stay connected.
The World Dairy Industry Convention is currently underway in Horhot, Inner Mongolia's autonomous region, and will end later today. The convention's primary objective is to explore and unveil effective strategies that can elevate China's dairy industry's competitiveness in the global market. Olivia He has more from the conference.
The exhibition covers an area of 36,000 square meters, equivalent to over 800 basketball courts. It offers a comprehensive display of the dairy industry's latest technologies and remarkable achievements from around the world.
While exploring the area, I came across three major genres. First, innovative dairy products. Second, eco-friendly packing materials. And third, high-tech machinery and equipment.
In addition to showcasing the final products, certain dairy enterprises also offer VR experiences to allow audiences to visit their factories at the exhibition.
I'm currently seeing the milk production process. where each pocket of milk is moving along a high-speed production line. After witnessing the milk production process, you get a chance to enjoy a delightful latte made entirely by robots. One of the highlights of the exhibition was the industrial application of artificial general intelligence technology. Leading Chinese dairy companies such as Mengniu and Yili unveiled exclusive GPT models that offer personalized nutrition and health services to consumers.
As a Ho Hot person, this is the very first time I can feel the development of the dairy industry in my hometown, and I feel very proud.
It's really impressive how Chinese dairy companies are truly dedicated to staying on top of all the latest advancements in the dairy industry.
Besides technological innovation, Chinese dairy companies are also embracing green and sustainable practices. Mengniu Group, for example, has announced plans to convert all of its factories into green factories, using renewable clean energy and striving towards a net zero carbon target.
From now until 2030, we'll be working towards building sustainable grasslands and pasturelands, as well as driving cooperative ranches to slash carbon emissions by a whopping 1 million tons. Plus, we're committed to promoting 100% green recycling of manure and enhancing the health of a whopping 1 million mu of soil. Besides, we're also on a mission to create great living conditions for a staggering 1.7 million cows.
From grass to milk, China's dairy industry is growing rapidly. By 2022, China produced over 40 million tons of milk and making it the fourth largest milk producer in the world. During the conference, prominent domestic and international dairy companies, industry associations, institutions and scholars have expressed their expectations for the emerging development trends in the Chinese dairy industry. Olivia He, CGTN, Ho Hot.
And during the conference, China not only presented its cutting-edge dairy technologies and products, but also provided a platform for influential dialogue among leading companies, both from China and abroad, and industry associations. Take a listen.
I think China, and particularly Mengniu, have made a lot of progress on sustainability in the last few years, way beyond what would be expected. And I think that's both on farm, in terms of getting the yield per cow up, because that is really crucial, by the way. Also in some of the things on feed and fertilizer, those are the things which will drive the carbon footprint down on farm. And to see what Mengniu in particular are doing there on farm is really encouraging. To see what Mengniu are also doing in the dairies is really encouraging as well.
But we need to find ways to address the emissions that are produced by dairy animals as they produce milk, and we are investing a lot of money into that area. And I think that's a really interesting opportunity for how New Zealand, Fonterra and China could work together, because all dairy industries around the world, we can take fossil fuels out of our production value chain, but how we actually reduce the emissions from animals, whether you're in Ho Hot or whether you're in the Waikato in New Zealand or in Europe, it's such an important issue.
China, I think, will contribute for the dairy development in terms of innovation, will inspire us, because I think they have. We can provide our tradition, our knowledge in terms of tradition, but you are in another level in terms of innovation. It's incredible what you are doing, and you are working in very good direction.
Scorching heat waves with temperatures nearing 40 degrees Celsius hitting several regions in China, and a fascinating consumer trend has emerged. In the northern Chinese tourist hotspot, Dunhuang, many visitors are capitalizing on the stark contrast between daytime and nighttime temperatures to indulge in the enchanting night market experience. Our reporter Zhu journeyed to Dunhuang to bring us more.
Hello guys!
guys, we are now here in Dunhuang, Gansu province at a night market here. It's now about 10 o'clock at night and the sky just turned dark because this place has very long hours of sunlight, and it's now about 34 degrees Celsius at night, already much lower than the temperature in daytime, about 41 degrees Celsius today. So many tourists are flocking here to enjoy their nighttime. Well, what do northwestern Chinese people eat? Lamb kebab, roast fish. It's a paradise for meat lovers. Though the food is piping hot, it doesn't seem to bother the tourists here. There are so many people here, you can see. It's like traffic jams. They're enjoying in the cool temperatures at night.
晚上更凉快多了，白天好热。
你现在吃的是当地的柿子，有些子
对。
This is local tofu with mashed potatoes underneath.
What are they waiting for? Shatong is a special type of scallion that can only be found in desert. Here in Dunhuang, nearly 20% of land area is desert.
I invented this cake back in 1998, as the shatong is very popular here. No one ever made shatong with cake before.
It's very crispy, and you can see there are many vegetables inside.
排队很长，肯定很好吃，然后要来尝一下大西北的美食，太好吃了。
Apart from local delicacies, this night market also has a very large area selling local cultural products and gadgets. You can see there are many beautiful traditional decorations here.
每天应该有个6、7个小时，6点钟开始，然后到大概1点多。
Authentic jade, earrings in Dunhuang style, and local scarves. These are the paintings at their famous Mogao Grottos, one of the very popular tourist spots here in Dunhuang.
9点上人吧，9点上人到10点、11点这3个小时是比较那个高峰期。
也是因为就是天气也比较凉快了，是吗？
是的，是的。
Cool. I'm ready to take a picture in the desert now. It's now already 1 o'clock in the morning, but as you can see, there are still so many tourists here. Thanks to the huge temperature difference between day and night, and the local special food and culture, nighttime economy continues to boom.
And with that, I'm closing out this edition of Global Business here on CGTN. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lulu in Beijing. Bye for now.